to the recording of AcuQC functionality in Acumatica. For this recording, I'm going to demonstrate how new product purchase could be QC'd, inspected, before receiving it to the main location set up in Acumatica. So for this purpose, for this recording, I'm going to bring up some inventory items and show you how stock items are set up to be inspected. So here's we look at a display monitor. In the general tab, we have a QC required checkbox. When checked, this tab becomes enabled. And here we'll see that we've specified for the PO receipt application in Acumatica what QC functions we want to perform. So you can set up different QC functions for when you're doing a service order on it, field service order, when doing a manufacturing transaction, kit assembly. Here we set the two for purchase receipt. We want to make sure that it starts and the battery backup works. For the other item here, you will see that we said when we use it as on the field service order, when it is servicing a credit card reader, make sure it's calibrated, you know, if the reader works fine. And when we buy it or when we do a kit assembly transaction, make sure that it can process transaction. And also for this item, we said, you know, it's a motor. When you receive it, make sure it starts the same thing when we use it as part of a kit assembly, it starts. And when you purchase it, also make sure that the big belts and so forth working okay. So this is what we set up for in the stock item for the QC function. Notice you can have notes entered here. You can have attachments that show how the inspections need to be performed. You can tell it whether or not it requires approval. Also, some of the other things you could do is to tell it, you know, what type of a unit is it, a checkbox. You want them to enter text the inspectors. You want to enter number range or date and time that the QC was performed. QC functions that need to be performed are loaded into this screen. As you will see, the new products purchased will get loaded here for us to do the inspections. So the way the system works is that when you're adding a new PO, and I'm going to quickly enter a purchase order here, and enter the 3 items that we just looked at. Typing in the GSP 2710, create GSP 2720, 4, and of course the last item here, 440. We enter 3 of those. So we're going to save this, and this is just standard Acumatica purchasing functionality. We're going to remove it off of hold. And we're going to approve it, and we'll continue and we'll create a PO receipt. So what the system is going to do, instead of receiving the inventory into the location set up in the stock item for the item, it's going to remove it into the QC location. So the system knows QC is required. It's telling us that the QC is required. It's telling us that it's going to receive it into this location. So I'm going to release it now. And right after this release, we'll go and see the transfer transaction where this inventory is now received into the location, the QC location set up here. Okay. So now we're going to go into the inventory module. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you the transaction generated. So that those inventory that we received, quantities, are moved to the QC location. And as we complete our QC functions, they'll be removed from the QC location and will get loaded into our main location for us. So for that, I need to go to the QC tracking and bring up the QC tracking. And here I be able to, depending on what my role is, I may just be doing all the QC functions that relate to PO receipt, or if my job is to do the QC for calibration, I'll select that and it will show me all the calibration related testing that need to be performed. Notice that I can save a signature, print an inspection form, take notes, enter notes in here, Yeah, take pictures if the welding or something that work is done, and then set it to in process, and come back, and when it's completed, change it to completed. Now, if I want to do a quick mode, I can just select this, and I can just go through as I select them, check the boxes, it will set them to completed. So I can do that. I can come. Now I could have actually told it that I'm doing a PO receipt and selected that PO receipt, and will load that. Or if I want to do an inspection of just one item, I could go ahead and do that. I could tell it that this one quantity failed, did not pass the test, and it would move that, and I'd tell it what happened, would not start. Okay, and basically continue doing my work. And also through settings, you'll be able to do things like tell the system that for this vendor, if I pass the test today, don't do another QC for the next 30 days or 15 days, or if I receive 100 for 100, I just want to do a sample of 10, QC functions. I don't need to test all 100 of them. So now we'll just see the inventory. And if I go to the transfer, you'll see a new transfer generated, and the products moved from the QC location. This one to the rejected, that's the one that we rejected. And of course, the other to the locations that they were supposed to go to. So this is a quick demonstration of the AcuQC functionality for purchasing new items. The same thing happens when you do the IM receipt.